What's up, my friends? DraftKings released their Week 1 salaries. We're going to take a 10,000-foot view, look at some of the positional values, some of the studs I'm looking at for Week 1, and it's certainly going to put together some stacks. I hope this video finds you well today. Hit that sub button, like button on your way out. If you enjoyed it, drop your favorite stack down below in the comments section. Let's go. All right, the first thing that pops off the page for me is when I'm looking at these prices at the quarterback position is these guys are kind of priced at their value to begin the season, which is a little bit different than what it usually is like for DraftKings. Week 1 often extremely soft pricing allows the casuals to get in there, get some action, enjoy themselves a little bit, put together a team that they absolutely love. This year, I think it's going to be a little bit harder for everybody except for those in the know. If you are watching a video like this, that is you right now. We're going to be talking leverage, leveraging public perception, leveraging public ownership, and then talking about how to enter different types of stacks based on the contest structure. If you're entering one of these milli makers with 1.2 million entries and lineups in there, you've got to play those entirely different than what you would enter a 5,000 person contest or tournament. So that is something I talk about ad nauseum on this channel, inside my Discord, to my members. So if you are interested in game theory and things like that, please, by all means, hit the sub button here and make sure that you are back for our daily videos and live streams heading into the 2021 season here. Now, a couple guys jump off the page for me immediately, and they're all the way down here in the middle. And I think this is where you're going to differentiate yourself. Kirk Cousins, 6.3K, Joe Burrow at 5.7. Joe Burrow was pacing the NFL in passing attempts per game. I don't think much changes this year. I haven't projected inside the top 10 passing attempts. Jamar Chase was added. Offensive line is healthy, and they added some pieces. Joe Mixon, totally healthy. Tyler Boyd entering year 4. We have T. Higgins coming back, looking strong. Already had some serious chemistry. And this offense is just on the up and up. And I think that with a healthy Burrow, whom I don't think we'll see much of in the preseason, at 5.7, and those stacking options, which we will get to the wide receiver position a little bit later, but these guys are so affordable out there in Week 1 for Cincinnati, and I'm going to show you all three of them real quick just so we can take a peek. And let me go up to the top here, and I'll grab their actual teams so we can see both Minnesota and Cincinnati pricing. Now, these guys are incredibly affordable. You've got T. Higgins, 4.7. I knew I couldn't find them. 4.7, 4.8, 5.2. Very affordable price tags. On the other side, you still have Irv Smith Jr. to stack up. Thielen, Jefferson are priced at value, so I actually like the Cincinnati side a little bit more. However, if this turns into chalk, give me the other side simply just to leverage the public, be able to stay in the same game a little bit here. And you could do something like this. And I think Week 1, Jamar Chase, the rookie in his first game, not entirely sure that's someone I want to put my investment into. And I think that you're going to see the chemistry from Joe Burrow to Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins kind of shine in the beginning of the season. I do think Jamar Chase ends up leading this team as the alpha wide receiver there, though. Now, you could go with the touchdown magnet Adam Thielen, Irv Smith Jr., who was a stud last year to close out the season without Kyle Rudolph, who is now a New York Giant. And I think that this is a really, really nice way to start off your season. Kirk Cousins averaged 23.85 fantasy points per game to close out the final 11 weeks of the year. The only quarterbacks to score more points per game than Kirk Cousins over the final 11 weeks, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen. He was right there, number 6 overall. Pretty crazy. So I think he's a discount. Now, as a quarterback I absolutely love this year coming into the season as a rookie, Trey Lance, 3rd overall pick for the 49ers. I think this kid is going to be special. And this offense built around him right now actually is pretty darn good. He is entering one of the better offensive situations I can remember in recent memory. The offensive line is not bad. The running backs, not bad. Raheem Mostert and Trey Sermon potentially going to end up being a very competent 1-2 combo in the backfield. And then, of course, he's got these really young and talented wide receivers. And we're going to go look at this game in general between San Francisco and Detroit that starts at 1 p.m. in Week 1 in our 13-game slate. A very big slate to start off the year. You've got Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk right here at 5'9", 5'7", very affordable options. The beauty of this is you can run this back on the other side. You could probably use both Kittle and Hawkinson and use the use this strategy of using 2 tight ends, which last year won 2 different milli makers. Now, here's the deal. A lot of people look at this and be like, you can't run out 2 tight ends, Mitch. That's not how you play DFS. George Kittle's not a tight end. Travis Kelce's not a tight end. These elite tight ends, you don't even have to look at them as tight ends. They are wide receivers at the tight end eligibility position. I am totally comfortable doing something like this. I don't think I want all 3 of these guys, but I wanted to highlight kind of their pricing here. If you wanted to go with Samuel or Ayuk, I think the play is just to go whomever is lower owned. I would imagine Debo's a little bit lower owned. Who knows, though? So you could go Trey Lance, you can go Ayuk, Kittle, Hawkinson, and there you go. You've got a 4-player stack. Feel good about it. Nothing wrong there. You can even run it back with DeAndre Swift. Hope that check down, 6 or 7 receptions from Goff checking down throughout the game, and then you can rack up some PPR points. I don't think you need to do that. If Trey Sermon ends up being the 1A of this backfield, I think you can go with him in cash in week 1. I think Mostert's going to be the goal line back. I do think Trey Sermon gets the bulk of the carries several weeks into the year, but week 1 we'll have to pay attention. All right, this next one's a little bit tricky. Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater, whomever ends up being the starter in week 1. We're not entirely sure who it's going to be. There's definitely going to be some type of camp battle. I personally believe that Teddy B is going to come in here and he's going to take the job, but I don't know if it's going to be week 1. If I had to guess, I think Drew Lock would start the season, the younger option. They would give him a chance here. So let's just plug him in. I think it's slightly irrelevant. I think a lot of people are on the hype train for Daniel Jones, at least in fantasy Twitter. You see that right now. So if Daniel Jones ends up being slightly chalky or at least higher owned than the opposite side here, I love this game. Now, this game is full of competent options who are very affordable. You get the late afternoon hammer type situation here. And I think, honestly, if you're looking at like the 4 p.m. afternoon slate, this is probably the game I'm stacking rather than Green Bay, New Orleans, which I think a lot of people will be on, as well as Cleveland and KC. You could be different. Go, Denver and New York Giants for the afternoon slate. I digress. That's the stuff I'll be talking about to my members personally, teamriseorfall.com, which you all get $20 off to fantasycruncher.com if you're one of my members. Grab that link down below in the description section. Now, Daniel Jones, again, mentioned him. We'll see what happens there. But what I like this game specifically is look at these prices of these wide receivers. Kenny G, 5'6", very affordable. Sutton, 5'2", very affordable. Jerry Jeudy, who had a massive amount of air yards last year and I think will be targeted similarly this year down the field. A lovely play at 4.8K, my friends. And then Darius Slayton, who I think will end up being one of the top 3 wide receivers for the Giants this year. Targets were there last year. Erratic throws, erratic gameplay. I think this kid has an opportunity to explode, and I think he's being completely overlooked. Now, at the tight end position, you've got 2 great tight ends, 2 rising talents, I'd say. Honestly, Noah Fant, at very least, he's a rising talent. I think he's going to be top 8 this year. Evan Ingram, way underdrafted in best ball right now. It's a totally different discussion. He's going outside the top 12. I think he is a top 12 tight end this year. And I think that Kenny G helps this offense out immensely, to be honest. And if Daniel Jones can take a step forward, I like these guys both. So you could pick whomever you like at this spot. But basically, I kind of wanted to highlight, just look at all these stacking options. This is a very, very good game to stack because of this. Now, the only issue you're going to run into is you're not entirely sure where the production is going to go. Is it going to be Noah Fant? Is it going to be Jerry Jeudy? Is it going to be Cortland Sutton? Kenny G? Darius Slayton? Sterling Shepard is still there. Evan Ingram? I don't know, and that's the tough part. So I think what it will come down to is basically what type of contest are you entering? Are you in a massive, massive contest? Your goal should be to try to differentiate. If Noah Fant is going to be 8% ownership in a 1.2 million entry contest, and Evan Ingram's at 3.1%, well, there, you've got a little bit of leverage against the public. You're staying in the same game. You can go there, save 5% ownership. I would make those little decisions everywhere. Sterling Shepard's going to be, 6%. You got Slayton at like 1%. He's not even going to be touched. Run him out there. Kenny G is going to be 18% owned. Okay, maybe not use him. Sutton's going to be 15% owned. Jeudy at 8%. All right, we're off Sutton. We're on Jeudy. You can find ways to still stay within some of these stacks, in some of these games, target the same scenarios. Kadarius Toney, you could put him in too. It's like you have these opportunities here to be on similar situations, similar game theory, but be off of the popular pieces within those. Now, are those my only quarterbacks I like for week 1? Heck no, come on. What I'm trying to do is just kind of paint this picture of how week 1 could go. Try to get you thinking about these different lineup building scenarios. I didn't want to do the same thing I see all over YouTube and Twitter right now where everyone's pointing out the same things. Oh my goodness, look at CMC, Delvin Cook, Derrick Henry. Guys, I don't need, this is not analysis. These guys are good plays. There you go. You don't need stats. You don't need me to tell you anything else. All three fine for cash. All three fine for tournaments. I don't care what people say. All right. That's not my goal with these videos. My goal with my videos is never to be like pure tout life. I want to help people understand what they're seeing, understand how to use the player. Information is nothing without having actionable information, right? So y'all know about Aaron Jones' stats, or you don't care. Either way, that is irrelevant for DFS. You need to know how to use Aaron Jones in the contest you're entering, and that is my MO for my company, teamriseorfall.com. So when we're looking at the running back position, these guys up at the top, they're all phenomenal plays. Even Jonathan Taylor, potentially without Wentz, I think becomes the focal point of the offense. Probably will have to boost his carries per game. Currently have him at projected for 17 per game. It's like 16.8 or something. It's a very healthy amount. Comes out to like 249 carries. Now, I like them all. There's nothing wrong with any of these selections, but I like the volume running backs that we have. They're a little bit cheaper. And then definitely in week one, I want to go pay up this week for wide receivers, quarterbacks, tight ends, players like that. Running backs, I like this volume. Chris Carson, I think, is going to get a ton of carries this year. Joe Mixon, 6.2. Najee freaking Harris, 6.3. Like, these guys are my cash options with, like, probably CMC. Probably just plug in CMC, and then I'll grab Najee and Mixon, throw them in at my running back and flex. There's my cash build. We're talking tournaments. I also think that in tournaments, these guys are going to be lower owned than the high-end players, and it allows you to be slightly different. That means if CMC is 28%, Delvin Cook 24%, you're getting Najee at 14%, Joe Mixon at 13%, Chris Carson 8%. Like, that's enough of a differential in ownership and total lineup ownership to make yourself unique. Now, you've got other options like Mike Davis, I think, is a fantastic option in week one as well. 5.4 should be a volume back to begin the season. I don't really think he has much competition to take that away from him in the beginning. Pay attention to Damian Harris, what type of role he has in the preseason here, what they do with Sony Michel. Tevin Coleman, if he starts off. Michael Carter is just 4K for the Jets. There are plenty of options. Zach Moss might start off as the starting running back for the Bills, although it's more of a 1A, 1B situation in my opinion. Chase Edmonds with James Conner, I think James Conner is more of a breather back, a backup role, a safety valve. I think Chase Edmonds starts the season getting 16 to 18 touches per game. That is fantastic volume at 4.6K to begin the year. And again, I think this is actually probably going to be a decent game to target. Going to be a lot of points out there. Tennessee, incredibly efficient offense. Adding Julio Jones, this offense will continue to improve, I believe. And I think the same bodes for Arizona with Rondale Moore joining Kyler Murray, hopefully taking a step forward with healthy ribs. And A.J. Green joining the fold to see if he's got any gas left in the tank. And I like that game. I think it's another game, by the way, we could have targeted if we wanted to. So when you're looking at these running backs, honestly, you're looking for volume at cheap prices for tournaments. And this is where you're going in cash. You could probably even plug in two of them if you want. But I would go one of them, and then I would go to those guys I was talking about, like Najee, Mixon, players like that. I think Mixon 6.2 at home is not bad. I like Carson against Indy. Gibson, Antonio Gibson. Guys should get 1 billion carries, maybe even some extra pass catches this year. There's no shortage of running backs in week one that are affordable with volume. Now we slide over to wide receiver, and we have a very similar situation, but I want to pay up at this position. This is a volatile position. Give me these guys who I know are going to get 10-plus targets in week one. Adams, Hill, Ridley, all three of these guys have 40-point upside. They showed it off last year, and I think they can get me there. Ridley, 36, 33, 35, and I think that, without Julio Jones this year, he's going to be the alpha and omega of this offense to an extent. Tyreek Hill, we saw get there 60 freaking points. This is $1 million winning upside, 36, 30, 25. That's the upside I want to capture from my wide receivers. Running backs don't often get there. Even the best don't get there. They'll get 30 points here and there, but it's the wide receivers that have the upside you need to win these tournaments. So I want to pay up, and I want to get those guys and get there. I'm sorry. This is a very, very nice week one play, Jalen Waddle. But my friends, you're not winning a tournament. He's not getting up to 30 points with Jalen Waddle, and he'll likely be very expensive, or he'll be very chalky if Devontae Parker and Will Fuller are both injury riddled heading into the season, like they already are in week one for preseason, where they are both dealing with hamstring injuries. So listen, guys like that, I think, end up being a fine complementary pieces, but you're not building your team around them. So I do things a little bit different. I like trying to grab the massive upside from wide receivers. And if you can fit in 4 in a tournament, let's kind of just shake this out real quick so we can kind of see what I'm saying. So let's say we do something funky. We go Baker to, let's type in Landry, and I'm just putting one together real quick. Landry, 6K. And then we can go with, Kelsey at tight end. And let's stay in this game. All right, so our pay down option, we're going to have, Hardman 4.8K. There you go. All right, so you could do a stack like this. And from here, my goal is to get more of this upside. Where can it be? Calvin Ridley, 7.9. Again, I'm going to pay down at defense in week 1. Somebody here is going to splash. There are a few good spots that already jump off the page for me. I like the Bills at home against, a Big Ben and his arm that's disintegrating. You've got plenty of defenses under 3K. I think you got some defenses down here at the bottom that could be very interesting week 1 plays for sure. So I don't mind this at all, living in this area. And you save a lot of money doing this too. You can save a lot of money and then have, 4.8. And we already talked about the running back position. You can plug in, we talked about Chase, Zach Moss, and then you got another flex spot. If you don't want to go Kelsey here, you can go a cheap tight end and go get Tyreek Hill instead of Hardman, and then go a cheap volume tight end. Like, would you rather have Tyreek Hill and Noah Fant combination over Hardman and Kelsey? I mean, there's plenty of different things you can do, but try to capture that upside. And if it's not Baker Mayfield, okay, well then maybe some of those stacks we talked about in the beginning, you do something like this, and then this will allow us to go get this super high-priced tight ends that we already talked, wide receivers that we were just alluding to. So you could go Ayuk, we'll go Kittle, and we're going to plug in Hawkinson. All right, so there we go. We have a lot of money left over. We have some running backs that we know are very, very affordable. And maybe here is, there we go. Look at this, 4.9K left. I mean, goodness gracious, this thing is building itself. It's very easy to do so. I feel like I put together a very strong 4-player game stack. I've got massive ceilings in Davante Adams and Calvin Ridley. We saw Davante Adams score, 16 touchdowns, 18 touchdowns, whatever it was, something redonkulous last year. 18 touchdowns in just 14 games, led the NFL at 44-point ceiling, 47, 30, 36, 37, 46. Like, this is how you win a tournament. You plug in these guys that have these ceilings. Then you're also getting exposure to some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. If it's not Ridley, if we want to talk best quarterbacks, you can do this. Now you got exposure to Patrick Mahomes. You've got exposure to Aaron Rodgers, but you're not investing in the higher-priced quarterback. You're getting something like Trey Lance, who you're hoping is a dual threat to start off in week 1 against a weak Detroit defense, potentially turning the ball over a few extra times. And you got yourself a game stack with exposure to two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Many different ways to build your rosters, my friends, in week 1. Now, tight end, I think it's one of those weeks where you're paying up for Kelsey basically in cash, or in if you're using Mahomes or Mayfield, but otherwise, I kind of want to grab some of these volume tight ends, whom I think will be solid picks, in week 1. Gesicki, 4.5, Logan Thomas, 4.6. These guys I think are going to get peppered with targets. They have a nice floor. The ceiling's certainly not there. That's baked into the price tag, though, right? And I think I can do so much more with the extra $3,500 to $4,000 with going up at wide receiver, going up running back, going up at quarterback, maybe getting a slightly better defense, and then just grabbing Noah Fant, Kyle Pitts, Mike Gesicki, Logan Thomas, Irv Smith Jr., Robert Tonyan. I mean, Evan Ingram. You have so many options. Jared Cook, I like a lot this year. You have so many. Gerald Everett potentially starting here. Anthony Ferkser. Listen, it's constant. There's a lot of tight ends here who I think will be getting some volume in week 1. Adam Troutman might be getting 6 to 8 targets per game, is the only body left in New Orleans at the tight end position worth naming. Who knows what happens? We have 5 weeks until the season. Today's video is to get the juices flowing, and I hope that I was able to do that for you. Appreciate you very much. Hit that sub button. Just do it for me. It's daily DFS videos. It's daily best ball videos, daily fantasy football videos. From now all the way through the entire 2021 season. We're talking another 100 plus videos over the next several months, and you're going to get them every single day. We do daily DFS streams during the season as well. We do all sorts of lineup study, lineup rewind through Fantasy Cruncher. We do all sorts of study hub and lineup building right here on YouTube as well. So hopefully you become one of our free subscribers here. And if you want to check out the website, go ahead and use promo code STREAM. It's $5 off, and you can get signed up on our website. We also have weekly, and I truly just hope you guys give us a peek. Down below description section, very first link is there for you, teamriseorfall.com. Wish you the best of luck, and I hope I see you on the inside, my friends. Take care.